Hello. The Pima County Democratic Party is holding its biennial reorganization meeting via Zoom on Saturday, December 19th. I am taking this opportunity to introduce you to Priya Sundareshan, who is a candidate for corresponding secretary. Just quickly, the responsibilities of the corresponding secretary, per the Pima Dem's bylaws, are to serve as the communications conduit between the party leadership and party members and other correspondence, and to maintain a complete and current record of the membership of the county committee, i.e. the precinct committee persons, and the executive committee. So, with that said, can you start off, Priya, by telling us about your experience in organized democratic politics to date?
Sure. So I would say that my probably first experience in organized democratic politics was door knocking for Gabby Giffords back in her 2010 campaign. Very limited exposure, but that's the entry point for a lot of folks is volunteering that way. And then after that, I became more involved on the voter protection teams of various states. So for the 2016 election and 2017, I was a voter protection volunteer and poll observer for the Virginia Democratic Party because I was living in Washington, D.C. at the time. In 2018, I wanted to do something to come back to Arizona. So I took a leave of absence from my job there, came back to Tucson, and lived out of my parents' house while I was on staff with the Arizona Democratic Party, running the voter protection hotline for the state. So this cycle, I was even more engaged with organized democratic politics in the state. And that came through in a number of ways, volunteering with phone banks, et cetera. Got involved with the Arizona Democratic Party's Asian American caucus, and really wanted to make sure that we turned out the vote among Asian Americans in the state. The success of the 2020 election really shows that we did across the board, across the state, but also especially with Asian American voters in the state. So really proud of that. Now I'm looking to get involved in a different level here with Pima County.
Can you tell us how you, through your life and work, are qualified for this kind of office?
Okay, so for a details-oriented position, I would draw on both my current role as an attorney, but also my undergraduate education as an engineer, and my experience after that as a management consultant. So as an attorney, to be a good practicing lawyer, you really do need an attention to detail. And so, of course, I would draw on that, but I also gather from the position that this is really it's also about efficiency, keeping good records, and staying on top of various dates and deadlines. And that lends itself to a spreadsheet in my mind. And so that's where I think the engineering degree and my experience after college, being a management consultant, where I learned all about the wonders of Excel and how to keep track of pieces of data. I think that's where that would really come in.
So in addition to your specific duties as corresponding secretary and your qualifications for corresponding secretary, what are your broader goals as an officer of the Pima County Democratic Party Executive Board?
I think beyond the specific duties, I'm really interested in two things. One is winning, and I think winning depends on turnout. So I think a huge focus of the team and as a whole should be on making sure that we have democratic turnout across the county, and that includes areas and communities that haven't necessarily been reached out to, because elections nowadays are not as much about persuasion, but they are about turnout, and I think we need to really make a focus on that, and especially reach out to those who aren't necessarily aware of the issues at play, or even that there is an election on the particular day that we're focused on. So turnout is key. And then the second thing is is cohesion. I really, you know, I've been involved with various state party level caucuses and groups. I forgot to mention actually earlier that I'm also chairing the Arizona Democratic Party's Election Integrity Committee. And especially there is where I've seen the need and the real appetite for cohesion and communication across the counties, across the LDs. And so there's really, you know, if we want to be successful, you know, within Pima County, but across the state, it really behooves us to make sure that there's good communication and good relationships between the LDs, between the counties, and with the state party.